All right, Ed, thank you, and we'll get to that quarterback question in a moment. Open mic time with Tony Casillas. In the spirit of the presidential debate, we're standing at the podium, ready to pound the podium.
I guess you're Trump and I'm questionable.
Let's not go there. Tony's here with us tonight. Football. Cowboys roll past Cincinnati 28-14, Dallas 4-1, heading to Green Bay next week. Let's start with Zeke in that running game, that offensive line. 134 yards for Elliott, 15 carries, and that offensive line's really living up to its billing right now, isn't it?
Well, it really didn't live up to its billing as far as watching the games. You really thought Cincinnati was going to be a formidable opponent when it came to stopping their offensive rushing attack. And again, it was in the first round. They delivered a knockout punch right here, just a big gaping hole. And I just love the way this guy runs the ball. Yards after contact, just hitting it up in north and south. And I think the offensive line went into this game thinking, you know, Cincinnati is a team that builds its reputation on being physical and running the football. But, oh, by the way, that's what Ezekiel Elliott feeds off, especially as a rookie. I mean, that's kind of unheard of, but you could just tell that they were deflated the whole day. Again, you see Tyrone Smith getting out. To me, Zach Martin had a tremendous day, and it just every week it amazes me what Ezekiel Elliott's doing and leading the NFL in rushing right now.
Isn't it interesting to see how he, as you said, improves week to week? Because early on he admitted he was a little bit impatient. You know, it takes a while to get used even to a great offensive line. There's still unique properties about every offensive line, but he's understanding what he has to do right now.
Well, I think the uniqueness is that when DeMarco Murray had that tremendous year when he was here at 1,400 yards rushing and some change, it was kind of like 3 yards, 2 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards here. Now with Ezekiel Elliott, it's 7 yards, it's 10 yards, it's, so by the way, 60 yards taking the house. But he's not only does he have the physicality, but he's got the home run threat. And the Cowboys have not had that in a long time. I think the last time they probably had a runner or two running like this was probably Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, the knock on Murray was that he couldn't make people miss. Once Zeke gets to that next level, he can do that. Off to a great start, obviously. The quarterback debate is now hotter than ever. Dak Prescott, 4-1, runs for a touchdown, throws for another, and still no interceptions on his first 156 throws. They get Green Bay on the road next week at Lambeau, so that's obviously a tough test. Then it's the bye week. Here's the question you've been waiting for. If Romo is ready after the bye, do you bring him back?
Well, I will tell you this. It makes it easier for them to put the decision on Romo's injury, because all of a sudden if they go in the bye 5-1, you know, Tony, maybe that bone is not healed up quite enough, so let's just kind of keep resting and kind of let this evolve. I think the longer that Dak Prescott has success, it really makes a case why Tony Romo shouldn't come back, maybe not in 10 games, but maybe not even the year, considering on what type of success they have once he's ready to go.
And I think it's still somewhat of a long shot, even legitimately, that Romo would be healthy enough to come back after the bye, because this injury might really take longer than that to heal. But say he is ready to come back, I just don't know how you make the change. Even if they lose at Green Bay and they're 4-2 and Prescott's barely made a mistake in his first 6 starts, I know all that Tony's done for this franchise, and I appreciate it, I really do, but how do you mess with that dynamic and that role that they've got?
Well, let's go back to 2014 when Tony Romo, not only did he had a great year throwing the football, but also had a great running attack. And you kind of implement Tony Romo in this offense with the way Ezekiel Elliott's running the football and the other offensive line is blocking. I will say this, I think Tony Romo is the better quarterback totally. Now the question is, how much is that back and his health hanging by a thread?
Prescott, I like the way they used him around the goal line today. I'd been waiting for him to use that little option where he ran the football, and that's again an option that he gives them. And just his decision-making continues to impress Dak Prescott week after week. The defense is more impressive than I think most of us thought it would be. They got some pressure on Andy Dalton today. How'd they do it?
There was a lot of different players. I think when you get DeMarcus Lawrence, I thought he had tremendous pressure during the football game. Terrell McClain, the number 97, I thought he did a great job inside. And they're mixing up a little bit. And Andy Dalton has had a lot of success. A.J. Green today was more of a pedestrian. He made more. It was more known in the third, maybe in the fourth quarter. But when Brandon Carr was playing man up, when Mo Claiborne had to make a play, he made 2 beautiful deflections defense today. And right here, Brandon Carr seemingly it seems to get better and better. But as a whole, pressure-wise, all day long, Andy Dalton could never get comfortable. You see right here, he's under duress for most of the day. And you get them in the fourth quarter where they're down 28-0, and then they got to score. You know, Dallas's best defense was keeping Cincinnati on the field that last drive and having them keeping the little intermediate routes and make it short and not giving the whole football field. And they end up using a lot of time, and eventually they didn't have enough possessions in the fourth quarter.
You want to be happy for a guy, you got to be happy for Mo Claiborne. All he's been through in his career, he's obviously, as a high draft pick, been disappointing for most of his career, went through a lot of injuries. He's looking really good right now, and he's finally healthy. And back to DeMarcus Lawrence coming back, even though he didn't necessarily get the sacks, having him back can help other guys, right?
That's a key. It's someone being out there with their presence, his speed. There was 3 or 4 times he got pressure on the quarterback. Andy Dalton had to scramble and made big throws. But just not pressure. You don't have to have the big sacks. You need the quarterback needs to know that he's getting pressure, and then it changes the whole dynamic. And then it gives obviously the secondary an opportunity to in coverage, and so it works hand in hand. But I was very impressed with what I saw as a whole, what the defense did today.
Let's close with college football. Your Sooners beat Texas 45-40. Both of the head coaches sort of on the hot seat during the week. Charlie Strong we knew would be. Do you think he survives till the end of the season? And do you think he's definitely gone at the end of the season?
Well, I did see Emmitt Smith on the sideline, so I think he was pulling out everything that hopefully secure his job for a year. I really think Charlie Strong has probably gone after this year. Tom Herman is probably a candidate because I think that they're really wanting to move forward and really establish an offense. And so that'll be interesting to see. But I think Charlie Strong is probably definitely gone from Texas this year.
Your old teammate Brian Bosworth made news last week talking about how big this game was for Bob Stoops and that it was time to start putting heat on Bob Stoops. What say you, Tony Casillas, on that?
The only thing I'll say about Brian Bosworth, that's the biggest reason why you don't do steroids, because after a while, it plays a lot of havoc on your brain. To make a comment like that, considering that the Oklahoma brought him back, and it seems like he's kind of cashing again on some of the things he's done, I really disagree with those comments. First of all, Bob Stoops, as far as what he's done, he's had a lot of success. I think the biggest question, will he fire Mike Stoops after the season? Because defensively, they got to get better.
But in terms of Boz's comments, you disagree slightly with him talking about putting heat on
I think that would be a mild understatement. Absurd.
Tony Casillas, thanks for the comments on you're going to pick Dallas to win at Green Bay, by the way? You're going to go that far?
Dak's going to be 5-1. We're going to have the quarterback controversy as it brews and brews. So I think now Green Bay's like thinking, well, Tony Romo's out. We don't have to worry about him anymore. Well, guess what? They got a pretty good running attack with not only one rookie, but on the offense as far as throwing the football, Dak Prescott.
All right, Tony Casillas, thanks very much.
Thanks, Mike.